Welcome to Face to Facts. I'm Nick Face. We're back here for yet another wonderful episode to dissect and talk about all the lovely things that are happening in New England sports. It's pretty cool to have a really good, nice September month of sports going on. We haven't had that in a while. Joining me to my, my right
You're
today,
right.
that is correct.
Left,
that
I
is
guess.
Phil Healy from NORCAM TV. Welcome again, Phil.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I was just talking a little bit about how it's nice to have meaningful games in September.
Yeah, it's
Now,
awesome.
we obviously know the Patriots kick off September when they start football, but meaningful means baseball, and we actually have quite a race going on right now between the Red Sox, the Rays, the Jays, the Orioles. Everybody's kind of in the mix there. The Yankees. It's kind of up for anybody, except for the Rays. I mean, the Rays kind of could be that spoiler.
They could.
They like to be spoiler. But right now, it's a separation of anything less than 5 games.
Yeah, Detroit, too. You got Detroit Tigers.
It's must-see, must-watch TV if you're really into exciting races in sports.
Yeah.
We'll get to baseball shortly, but we must give the Patriots first attention. It was opening weekend for them. Opening game was Sunday night. It was against the Arizona Cardinals. I want to ask you your opinion on what you thought before this game started.
Okay. Oh, just
what were you thinking?
Oh,
Did you think we were going to get the win?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think, like, it was weird to me that people thought, like, it was, like, outside of the realm of possibility. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep, I hear what you mean.
And I'm not just a homer. Like, as someone who professes himself not to be a homer,
right.
Like, their Pats are a good team. And, like, they have a good coaching staff. The defense, you know, whether or not you felt the defense performed up to par this game, they were good. They would be good enough to stop or at least contain them a bit. And I think,
Well, the obvious thing that I know a lot of fans were, of course, concerned about was Brady. That's the number one that's not there.
Sure.
It's the first time that a quarterback outside of Brady hasn't started since 2008. Yeah. So that's a long time. Brady had been there through thick and thin pretty much throughout 2001 on. For the most part.
Yeah, he had never, knock on wood, he had not been through an injury or suspended or anything like that.
To be in the mind of Tom Brady, having to not be in that game, sitting at home and watching, must have been the most painful experience he's ever had in his life.
I think he both hated and loved it.
Yep.
I think it was, probably loved what was happening, but also like...
It's like, I should be out there
sure.
for the most part. The next thing, obviously star number 1 is Tom Brady. We all know that. But what about star number 2? Rob Gronkowski.
Oh, yeah.
Where was Gronk? Well, Gronk was out injured. He has an injured hamstring, so he was resting up this week, was not playing in week 1. That's another red flag on the play.
Yeah.
You got 2 big studs that are typically out there for you, and they're not there. Another one that's not out there. That's Rob Ninkovich, a big part of your defense that's missing.
4 games.
4 games.
He's suspended, yeah.
Suspended plus injury from, I guess it's a shoulder injury that he has going on too. So there's another hit.
And Nate Solder.
Nate Solder, another player that's not there as well. You have a running game that also was very skeptical for a lot of people that didn't know what to expect from them.
Yeah.
So all these things, you could list them one by one on a sheet that's pretty much list out all your concerns. The biggest one that I have to say is Jimmy Garoppolo. What have we seen from Garoppolo? Not really much. Not really much. So those were my things that were on my checklist on, are the Patriots going to win this game or are they going to lose this game? Well, obviously we know we ended up getting the win, 23-21. You could say they deserved to win, they deserved to lose, luck was on our side. That's fine. End of the day, a win is a win. What I want to look at a little bit, though, first is obviously one of my stars that I was very surprised with and how we played with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, okay.
Here's a couple stats for you at home so you can kind of understand how he played, maybe what he did, what he didn't do. But 24 for 33. He had 264 yards. He had a touchdown. And he had a 72.7% completion rate, which is pretty excellent, and only 2 sacks. The biggest takeaway that you really don't see in black and white when you look at the statistics on Jimmy Garoppolo was his ability to be clutch on 3rd downs. He pretty much delivered on 3rd down and maybe 15, 3rd down and 7, whatever it could have been.
Well, he's like 7 for 8, like on 3rd
7
down.
for 8 on third downs.
Oh.
That, to me, right there, shows me a proven quarterback in the NFL. And this is his pretty much first start that he's ever had in his NFL career. He did not look like a rookie.
No, and against a pretty well, he isn't, but this is his
true.
First game.
Exactly.
But first start, but he also it was a decent defense he went up against in away in an away game.
Let's not discount Arizona by any means.
No.
Arizona is a great football team.
Yeah.
Personally, I thought the Patriots were going to lose
this
first game. I did. I didn't think we had enough tools. I didn't think that we had enough fire to be able to beat a really good Arizona team. And, of course, it was at home for them.
Yeah.
To be able to beat them with what you didn't have, the way you did it, I'm sure in New York at the NFL head offices, they are just on the floor crying right now because the Patriots were able to still beat one of the best football teams there without all the players that some of them, they did take away. So I'm very impressed with what I saw. Of course, that means there's still things that you have to work on. But first check is Jimmy Garoppolo can get the job done.
Yeah, he was called upon there. Like you're talking about third down conversions.
Yep.
That one, the famous one that everyone's talking about, and they should.
Yep.
The 15-yarder or 15-yard plus to Amendola, because I think it was like a 20-yard pass.
That's right.
It's like, it was like 3rd and 15, and Amendola, Garoppolo.
Well, that was able to deliver them the field goal.
Yeah.
That field goal.
The drive?
Yep, that was the drive that got them at least a field goal. Game-winning drive, if you want to put it.
Technically, yeah.
That was a drive that I know some fans was disappointed that we weren't able to get it in for a touchdown. Because it was, at the time, 23-21, a field goal for Arizona would have won it, which technically should have happened.
Well, I mean,
Their kicker, Chandler Catanzaro, ended up missing the field goal.
47-yarder.
What I loved about the broadcast that NBC did, and if anybody wants to be critical on Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, what I can't stand in a broadcast and what announcers do is they pick on little things that could potentially go wrong for a certain player. They kept hitting on that Catanzaro could not hit from 46 on.
Yeah.
They must have repeated it 5 times.
Well, they had a statistic, just kind of like a graphic, to put up as he was, footage of him on the sideline practicing.
It's like the jinx. And as a Patriot fan, of course, we're all happy about that.
Sure.
But if you're an Arizona fan, and if you kept seeing that flashed at the bottom, I'm sure that was driving some of them crazy.
Yeah. And all the more reason get. Well, he seemed like a pretty efficient kicker overall, but just he can't.
I've had him on my fantasy teams a few times, and I've actually been pretty happy with him. He's been pretty consistent. But what he's consistent with is missing on anything 46 yards or above. He can't do it.
Apparently, but they also did say that he was confident he'd hit a 63-yarder.
Yes, he
because,
did.
in pregame, they was just in
they love to play mind games with the viewing audience at home.
I think you're putting too much stock into it. But it is funny how any losing team that gets like that, that kind of burn or like the lemon in the wound. But if I may bring up,
yes, you may,
a weird kind of thing, and I'm just thinking about it now, thinking about during the game. Remember how Carolina kind of dismantled them in the NFC Championship? Do we see any parallels between that game plan where they made...
Didn't think of that. You could.
You know what I mean? They made the Pats, I'm sure you have this down in the notes, but the Pats made them, not just just short passing game, and also the Pats just ran. And of course, I think they were just holding back for Garoppolo too.
Yes.
And they time of possession. I don't know if you have that.
Time of possession, the Patriots completely overruled Arizona completely
by
a landslide.
Yeah, it was like 33 minutes to.
Well, here's another thing that I also looked at from the game is about 4 minutes to go. I think it was exactly 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Bruce Arians, the coach of Arizona, calls a timeout.
Yeah. That's when we had the ball, right?
That's when we had the ball. He took all of his timeouts away. Basically under 4 minutes to play. Do you question that call?
Yeah, you can.
I do, yes.
I mean, you can, and I think you're right. I mean, it wasn't, if he made the kick, maybe you'd be like, oh, it was all right. I mean, they kind of had enough time. If they had another play, because was it 4th down they had to kick? I think it was 4th down they had to kick.
It was 4th down when they kicked. I was amazed.
It wasn't,
I mean, he's known for making, unconventional calls and all. But that call right there, if any fan of Arizona wants to be second-guessing anything there, I would totally open it up for that. I was completely surprised with how the game call was going, what they were focusing on and working on. It kind of played right into the Patriots' way of going about business.
A little bit. They didn't give him any... you could make an argument that it played into Arizona's kind of run and gun offense. They really wanted to go under 2-minute drill, and that's where they're at their best, really, Arizona.
Yeah.
But I kind of like, and I don't. I can go either way. I know I apologize. I'm on the fence about that.
Yep.
But and with Bill Belichick too, like his use of timeouts.
Well, I didn't think Belichick had a very good game myself either.
At the end?
I thought he was very sloppy with how he was calling a few things.
Yeah, okay.
The first thing that I noticed upon was, why in the world aren't you double teaming Larry Fitzgerald? You're allowing Larry Fitzgerald to move the ball down the field, take control of your game. All you have to do is put another person on him, stack him, and give the ball to maybe a no-namer, and maybe he doesn't do as well.
Well, that's true. I mean,
Larry Fitzgerald is a Hall of Fame wide
great.
receiver. I mean, he's phenomenal.
There are throws, and it seems to me anytime he's in like a big game like that, Fitzgerald will kind of he'll respond. And
he did respond. Yep,
he was great.
He was their star of the game.
Yeah,
no question.
But they also have like what was it? Floyd and who is their other?
They have Michael Floyd, and they have. Well, obviously their other big defender is Chandler Jones now.
Oh, I mean for receivers.
Oh, who's their other
Floyd?
receiver?
I think isn't Floyd.
Floyd is definitely one of their other big guys.
They have like three good, like with Fitzgerald until they have three good receivers.
Yeah.
And I think even Fitzgerald might not even be the most, the deadliest of the. Well, yeah, I guess you could.
He's not. Well, Larry Fitzgerald is a little bit older. Definitely is. He's one of their weapons that they have in their arsenal, but there's a lot of depth that that team has. Another player that I'm really impressed with Arizona as well is David Johnson.
Yeah.
David Johnson is going to be a very, very good running back in football.
Kind of a stud, man.
He is definitely coming into his own with what he's been able to do. So I like his play as well. The other call that I was critical on with Belichick was also why he didn't take a timeout after the kick was made.
When they were getting the setup.
He let the clock continue to run. It was like under a minute, and he was still letting it go and letting it go. And he didn't take a timeout or anything.
Yeah, they should
have
done
done
it there.
And a lot of fans, a lot of media, a lot of people were very critical on the way he went about that call. And Belichick actually at the end of the game said that it was a mistake to let the clock run. Him owning up to the things that he did, so the Larry Fitz was one of the things he admitted to.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
He admitted to two things.
Oh, wow.
The Fitzgerald thing and the clock not stopping were two things that he said he would have taken back and done differently. You never hear that from him.
Well,
never.
He can't be critical of himself like we didn't do things as much. Maybe he doesn't get as specific as this, but he usually will say like we didn't do better. And
it was different
because
he usually doesn't jump into all those details.
Fair enough.
On what he could have, should have, would have done. And he did that. Usually he gives the media nothing.
Yeah.
He stares at them. He says, moving on to the next game.
Yeah.
That's his usual script that he goes about.
Well,
and he did it differently this week.
No, he did. And he actually, I do remember hearing an explanation. I didn't hear the, it was a mistake. I did hear him explaining why he did it. Yeah. And then it's just because he thought they were going to just jump out and do it. Yeah. And that's what you kind of felt, too, the way they were going.
Well, right.
But they wanted to milk the clock, and he saw that they weren't really getting out there.
So this game, in my eyes, is kind of a great win to get.
Oh, it's a fantastic
I am absolutely saying it's a matter of luck, though. I mean, Arizona should have beat them. I think they should have.
Sure. I mean, did
the Patriots outplay them? Yes, I will tell you that. But that kick should have been made, and Arizona should be 1-0, and the Patriots should be 0-1 right now, I think.
But you know what? Here we are.
I'm happy that we have it that way. Nobody would take it away.
Well, sorry, not to
go ahead.
Belabor the point a bit, but don't you think, Belichick opening up a bit is more or less an indicator of how much this win meant to him?
Yeah,
and just like
I think it does.
You saw he put his arms up in the air and he was good to go.
Well, I think he also is going to realize, too, that usually all of his wins that he's had and his successes come from Tom Brady.
Yeah.
By having a win with Jimmy Garoppolo there as a quarterback only kind of staples his legacy a little bit more.
Yeah.
That shows, okay, well, I don't just need Tom Brady to win. I can win with other things, too. So you're going to see him probably give his all in these 4 games without Brady.
Sure.
To kind of show people that it's not all about him.
Sure.
I can do this myself, too.
Do you think this was the hardest game?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
This was the hardest game here. I had this one as a loss. I had them going 3-1. So now I'm looking at it and saying, You see, I still think we're going to look at the schedule here right now, and the schedule consists of next Miami on Sunday. We have the Texans on a Thursday night game, which is tough.
Texans are.
And the Bills.
They all play us pretty toughly. Like Miami is always it's never an easy go.
I wouldn't be surprised though, to tell you the truth, if we go 2-2. That's worst case scenario.
Yeah, I could see that.
But realistically, I want to say we're going to go 3-1, win the stretch without Brady. I think we'll definitely get the win Sunday against Miami and be 2-0. I think that's a definite. It's home. It's definitely in our advantage.
First home game too. Yeah.
The Texans game is the one that I'm a little bit concerned with because Thursday nights are tough. Yeah. You have a little bit of rest. You have a little bit of preparation.
Is that the week after Miami?
And that's the week after Miami. That's the week 3 game.
Okay.
That's the one that I would definitely not be surprised if it doesn't go our way. Yeah. But and then you have the Bills after that, which is against Rex Ryan. We all know how all he cares about his Super Bowl is beating the Patriots.
Yeah.
So he'll come out guns blazing and try his best to beat the lovely Patriots since he loves them so much.
Now, are they kind of debilitated by injuries as well?
They are. They have a lot of injuries over there. And actually, to tell you the truth, their quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, had the worst weekend of all quarterbacks that started in the NFL, too.
Oh, wow, all right.
So not very pretty for them. I want to say, I forget who they played. We'll come back to that if we can remember.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember, too.
The Ravens?
Yeah, you're right. I think
it was a Raven. Very low scoring, like 10-6.
Yeah.
Something like that.
There was only one touchdown scored.
Okay.
Very
I thought
exciting.
I was right. All right. So, that's something that if we want to play the Bills, I think it's going to be okay. So, that one loss I might chalk up to is the Texans. If they don't, then we're 4-0.
Yeah. I mean, Miami, I always give Miami, they always seem to have a good bout. Anyone in the division.
Usually Miami has always been able to get us on one of the games during the season, and you'll see them play Miami at the end of the year.
That's always hell.
And that's the game that usually is meaningless and you'll get. So we'll see what happens on that one. Some other stars of the game. We know Garoppolo had a great game, but we need to talk about the other players that had an impact too. I think that's important.
Who do you got?
Well, I think you have to look at Blunt first. We had a very unpredictable running game coming into play. You really didn't have much of anything. You have Dion Lewis out. Yep. You have pretty much Blunt as your lead guy, and I don't particularly care for that. Yeah. I think Blunt is a goal line runner.
And he showed it.
He did show it. Yeah. He did get his touchdown. He had 22 attempts for 70 yards, but please do not discount that horrible fumble. Yeah. That could have really changed the game.
I mean, it did change the game.
It did. Well, it allowed Arizona to score.
Yeah, and we had just stopped them. We had like a 3-and-out, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And then we're going back and we were charging.
That's when the momentum changed.
It did.
And that's what can't happen. I was actually surprised, to tell you the truth, that Blunt got back into the game after that. Yeah. I thought he was headed to the doghouse. I did.
That's usually how it is.
That's usually how it is, but there is very minimal depth that you have at the running back position where you can afford to have him out. You didn't see much of James White because I think that they like White. I think they like White as that passer out of the backfield, for like a third down conversion or something.
Which he had some amazing catches.
He did. He ended up having a pretty nice game. The unsung hero of the game, and is a guy that I think fans should get a chance to get to know his name a little bit more. Okay. Chris Hogan.
Yeah.
Chris Hogan. He had 3 receptions, 60 yards, but he had that touchdown. Beautiful touchdown, wide open right down the left side of the field. Yeah. And I see a nice connection between Garoppolo and him right now. So hopefully that repertoire builds a little bit more where they can trust each other. Yeah. Edelman was a beast. Yeah. Agree, disagree?
No, of course. He always is. He comes to play, and same with Hogan. Hogan, I mean, Garofalo calls the audible at the line, and then just like blown coverage, he sees it, knocks it out, and Hogan had a couple other great grabs too.
Yes, he did. Yeah. But what I love about Edelman, Edelman has really come into the league. He's like in a league of his own. Yeah. His mentality that you see reminds me so much of Dustin Pedroia. Yeah. Dustin Pedroia and Julian Edelman kind of equal themselves out in my eyes. They give their all. They're so good at getting their job done on a daily basis. But a productive and healthy Edelman is a winning Edelman. Yes. And you need to make sure that you have that. We'll get into the Red Sox shortly here, but again, with Dustin Pedroia, a healthy Dustin Pedroia is a winning ball club.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to learn how to go about things. Maybe not go 100% every single play.
Yeah.
Maybe go like 90 or 85.
It's tough to tell those guys.
It's tough to tell them to tone it down a little bit.
To not grind it out, yeah.
But they're such grinders. They're such dirt dogs. They have to do everything that they can to win. And as fans, we have to appreciate that.
How can you not love it?
You love it. And that's what I saw a lot of from him on Sunday night. I really liked what I saw. And it's great that Edelman can kind of be that leader in the wide receiving core, because they're going to need that without Brady.
Yeah, and he jump-started. As you said, he was the leader in that
He's the
core.
spark.
Yeah.
He's the complete spark in keeping everything going. So he's a very important player in the Patriots, hopefully going 4-0 without Brady.
Yeah. I mean, I got a little worried as you're kind of making inferences about, like, Edelman took a hit or two here or there. I'm like, And it's just like, oh.
You do cringe a little bit when he goes so hard at players. You do, because players come at him pretty hard too.
No, and people
because he's got a mouth on him. I'll tell you that.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, he's got a big mouth. So
what a delightful jerk.
Yes,
I mean,
I'm sure they love playing against him. Now, clutch can be defined in a lot of different ways. We see it in a lot of different sports, whether it's getting a clutch basket to win a basketball game, clutch home run to get a home run, and clutch touchdown play delivered by something, or a clutch goal. But one of the things that you don't see or hear a lot about is clutch kicking, because sometimes you have it and sometimes you don't. We saw two great examples of that on Sunday night.
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of safe to say that we should be giving Gostowski the nickname Money.
Yeah. He's not anything.
He's got ice in his veins.
Yeah. I mean, and people will probably come back at us for like, oh, what about last year? It's like, well, it happens. But that's not why they lost the game, the AFC Championship.
Me, honestly, I forgot about it until you even mentioned it.
I'm sorry.
I forgot about it.
Everyone's day.
Yep.
No, he 50. What was it? A 54-yarder? And he just kind of like, it was that point too, because you knew, because they were down 21-20.
Yep.
And you're not necessarily going to get the ball back because the way Arizona was moving.
Yep.
And with time the way it was, you're not going to do it. And that's actually, I was upset that Garofalo on that, when he ran that last third down, that he didn't go a little bit further to the right. Maybe, I think Peterson was right there.
Yeah.
Because he had another yard or two to get that first down.
Right.
And I was like,
to set it up more centered.
Yeah. Well, because he kind of went more.
He went more to the right.
Went more hash right. Didn't go far enough.
Yep.
If he went center, I don't know if he would have got. I don't know. I wanted him to take that corner, but he might not have been quick enough to do it.
Well, what we see week in and week out with Gostowski is he's the best kicker in the football. Yeah. He really is. Yeah. And we're not trying to be homers, like you said before, or biased with being Patriot fans here. The evidence is just there. He delivers. He's very, very, very special player. And in my eyes, I think he is better than Adam Vinatieri.
Well, we've been lucky to have this conversation.
Yes, we are.
Two kickers. Marquee kickers.
Who have been pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
So for Gostowski, we hope that he continues to deliver. That leg and foot are just so important and special, and we should be really happy that we have him.
Yep.
Because he's a very, very important player in the run of the Patriots to getting to where they need to get to, the promised land.
Yep.
Now, we've talked about the schedule. We told you the first 4 games that are coming up, but I looked a little bit at some of the highlights that we have throughout the rest of the season, too, on some of the schedules. Now, I forget when some of the specific weeks are when we play them, but some teams that we do play includes Denver towards the end of the season, which is in December. We have the Steelers.
In Denver, or?
That is, I think, home.
Oh, good.
I think it's home. Steelers will have at home.
Ooh.
We'll have a Seahawks on Monday night. I think that's at their place.
In Seattle?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be nice.
And that can be a tough place to play.
Yeah.
Now, the first game that Brady comes back with, that is against the Browns, which I think is pretty good to have because it's a weaker opponent. A weaker opponent is good so Brady can kind of get his bearings straight, get everything set before he really takes off and does his thing.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that the Browns are the team that we have on week 5.
And I think Josh Gordon comes back that week as well.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
Imagine that. Deflating a football, you get 4 games, and
smoking the gun.
Doing drugs gets you 4 games too. We just love the Roger Goodell story.
Hey.
Before I close the book on him, I just got to ask you, did you happen to see the YouTube clip with the Hitler thing?
Oh, no, I saw that there was one. I didn't actually watch it.
Oh, you got to see it.
I'm sure.
It's just absolutely hysterical. If you haven't got a chance to see it and you need a good laugh today, go to YouTube and click on Roger Goodell, Patriots win against the Cardinals.
I kind of feel bad for Hitler, to be fair.
I do too.
To be compared to such a weasel.
I do too.
But what are we going to do?
He is a weasel.
He is like kind of like quintessential, like cartoonish, like evil weasel.
He is. He is.
Corporate overlord. But
now what I want to do is, before we wrap up the football segment, I just want to ask you around some of the games that were around the NFL. Did any particular game outside of the Patriots game kind of trigger your interest or make you think, this could be a cool season or a cool team to look for or root for?
Well, I think we talked about it last show, and I think I jinxed Minnesota, so I apologize, everyone in Minnesota.
So you're the reason for Teddy Bridgewater?
Oh, yeah, I'm part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely.
We just wanted to make sure that was clear, so people in Minnesota who are watching, of course, will know. Yeah.
Like the Flash, I went there and I just hyperextended his knee, but you couldn't catch it on camera. No, it's the games that we were able to watch around here, because it's New England era, able to watch New York Jets versus was in Cincinnati, which wasn't a bad game.
Yep.
And it also was Green Bay and Jacksonville on Fox,
Green Bay and Jacksonville,
which wasn't bad. But watching highlights and going in and out, the obvious game, Raiders versus New Orleans, the Saints, and going for that 2-point conversion. And because I have Crabtree on my fantasy team as well.
Now there are a lot of people second guessing the call.
Sure.
That 2-point conversion call at the end.
Okay. What about you? I'll go for you.
I thought that was a gutsy call from Jack Del Rio.
Yeah, why not?
Very gutsy. And it was a game that they needed to show that they're going to be a team to reckon with this season. I love the call. Yeah. I love the call. I just thought that was... I think what you're trying to see, what we're going to see from the Raiders this year is a team that's kind of from the down, going on the up.
Yeah.
And they might have they have some exciting and fun players to watch over there. So
their offense is great. I'm not as familiar with their defense. I think I know a couple players on there, but for the last couple of years they've been pretty good. And Derek Carr, is it?
Yes, Derek Carr.
He's been pretty good. This is his third year.
Yep.
And last year,
I love their
receivers
receivers that they have a little bit of there too.
Oh, they have a great receiving core, and I think their running game's not too bad. But
nope.
That's a team that it's fun. It will be fun to watch, and New Orleans is fun to watch too. Anytime Breeze goes out there, and he, as a buddy of mine said it once, he'll throw touchdown to no names all day.
Sure.
And Brandon Cooks is always good.
Yeah.
But that particular call, you got to go for it, because then Del Rio, who I'm not as big a fan of, but he made a good point. I'm not going to give the ball back to Drew Brees so he can just march down and get a field goal.
Right.
And which they were able to hold them, right? I guess
yes, they were.
Yeah.
Yep, they were able to hold him. So, job well done.
Yeah.
Job well done. The game that I like the most, because I absolutely hate them, is the Colts losing. I loved it. I loved the Lions being able to take care of business. The Lions.
That was a crazy game,
that
too,
was a
wasn't
great.
it?
That was a very crazy game. Matt Prater delivered the field goal to end the game, and 35-34, something like that, ended up being. And credit to the Lions for showing that they can win a big game, because many times before we've seen them choke.
Sure.
In times like Gostowski making a big kick, or some kind of clutch moment happening. So
like in London last year, I think.
Like in London last year, yeah. So a little bit of clutch can go a long way.
Cool.
Anything else you want to highlight upon the NFL?
Well, I'm trying to think of some of the other good games, like the Rams. I didn't watch the Rams, so I read about it, and I was listening to people. But apparently it's just like everything LA. I lived in LA for a time, and it just really... No, the fans are just kind of like fair weather, and it just everything seemed pristine.
They need to build up their fan base, I'll tell you that. It's still kind of new on what to... and in football being back in LA, it really is kind of new.
It's crazy.
I do like some of their players. I like Todd Gurley. I think is a great running back and everything.
Yeah, but he didn't really do that well.
He didn't do that well. Yeah. Nope. Neither did like Adrian Peterson and some other guys that you typically count on.
Yeah.
They just didn't. They just did not have a good weekend.
Well, Peterson, you can expect a little bit because maybe he's getting a little older, but Gurley, this is the second year, and maybe people now expect it from Gurley and you game plan around him.
That's true.
And that was against San Francisco, which is a whole other bag of bones. But I will say this. I'm a big fan of that iconic imagery of the Black Panther fist up. Yep. So I was Devin McCourty and Martellus Bennett, and I was very proud of it. Yep. And I think it's, it's a very honor to be in this day and age and to have like a pregame talk about race and racial relations in congruence with, oh, we're going to sit down, watch some football. Let's also talk about social justice in our country. And it was kind of, and both sides were kind of going on.
Classiest thing that I saw from Sunday's game before we close this out.
Sure.
It was Danny Amendola holding the flag.
There you
before the game. That said it all right there.
There you go.
Through all thick and thin between Kaepernick taking his knee and should have his knees chopped off. That's my opinion.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I'm on the other side of that, but I do I think it's a good. Well, I mean, I think he.
See, I've never ever liked Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, I think you can.
I think he's a rat. I think he's a bad person that kind of.
Sure.
Not even a teammate. Just looks. He makes the NFL look bad in a bad light. So if I were people from like Roger Goodell or anything.
Is that tough though?
Is that tough? What do you mean?
Make the NFL look bad?
No, it's not tough at all.
Fair enough.
They probably like him because of that.
Sure, but not to cut into your point.
But I just loved how Amendola grabbed the part of the flag, made a very classy pregame ceremony look even better by doing what he did.
I think both sides are definitely justified in what they want to do.
Yeah. Before we close it out, 2 big injuries happen from the NFL. Keenan Allen, San Diego Chargers, and just continues to, the legend of RG3 just continues to roll. He is out for the season as well, injured reserve.
Such a shame because like it was him and who else in that draft class? It was him and
Luck.
Yeah, that's right.
And Kaepernick.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was just, I keep forgetting it was Luck in him.
Yep.
Because was it Luck first and then RG3? And it's just kind of like, I remember did you remember hearing the story or the tale of how RG3 wouldn't look at tape of him messing up?
Yep.
And I'm just like, yeah, that kind of sums it up.
Yep.
And I like, you get such a gut punch. Because you don't want these guys to do, you're like, we want this nice crop of quarterbacks to do well. But then it's just.
It's so true. Ugh. It's so true.
Such a disappointment, man. Such a bummer. Sorry.
Speaking of that, let's turn the gears. We need some excitement here. And one of the things that's extremely exciting right now is your Boston Red Sox. Yeah. The Red Sox are a team that right now, as season ended, they are AL East champs. What a turnaround. Yeah. However, we are not done yet. We are in the thick of in this unbelievable schedule that they have.
19 more games,
They still have 19 more games going right now, and they're all division games.
Yeah.
That means we have a breakdown of, here it goes, Baltimore. We'll finish off with them. We have New York coming to town, 4 games.
That'll be tough.
We have more games in Baltimore. That includes 4 of them next week. We have Tampa on the weekend from that, at Tampa. Then we go to New York for 3 more games. Finally, we come back home against Toronto. Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah, man.
If you don't bring your A game in any of these series, you could be going home.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Well, like you said, it's less than a 5-game difference between wild card and division.
As of right now, I know we have our board here that has, this is the 2013 rundown. It's a little different. We have the Red Sox, obviously, which are 2 games ahead. Yeah. That's including of the Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles.
So they're tied, right?
They are tied.
Oh, wow.
They are tied, those 2 teams.
That's crazy.
Then you have Yankees playing spoiler at 4 games back.
They're not too far back, man.
And then you have Tampa at the bottom. Now, Tampa we name because they could play spoiler. Tampa loves to get themselves in the middle of things and ruin the hopes and dreams of many fans who want playoffs
They still have pitching.
They still have pitching, and they are a tough team to face. Yep. Let's evaluate the Red Sox play since September 1st.
Okay.
Your overall thoughts. Give them a grade. A, B, C, D, F.
I give them a B+.
Okay.
Because I think, and the only thing that holds them back from an A maybe a combo, maybe a B, B+. The combo that holds them back from being an A would be the obvious answer, bullpen, but also not being able to really grind out wins against really good pitching. I think that's what's hurting them right now. They're close to that. And maybe it's bullpen and not hitting against good pitching is like the kind of the standard what everyone's been saying. But it's tough because we've seen them like the other night against Toronto, the 3rd game of the series, 11-8. That was a great game. That is grinding out. Although it's a high-scoring game, they just kept going.
They had a lot of coming back from that game. I think they were down at one point 4-1, and then it was 6-4, and then they just kind of gradually, inning by inning, got their job done.
Yeah.
I don't want to go negative first. I want to go positive first. what are our best assets that the Red Sox have right now? Who are the players that stand out in your eyes that are helping this team win?
I actually think the starting pitching is really good.
Okay.
I actually think it's actually really good. Erod is, I think, he just happens to go against pitchers we can't hit against sometimes.
Yep.
David Price is, and what was it? There was a stat like the last 7 games. He's 7-0. It's like 2.46.
Keep talking on that because I'm going to bring up the stat that's there. Rick Porcello.
Rick Porcello?
My goodness on him.
21 wins or 20?
Ever since Porcello came back from the DL, which I want to say it was July of last year.
Okay.
He has been one of the best pitchers in the American League.
Is he even in the conversation for
He should
Cy Young?
be. He has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, tonight, obviously we just gave away when we're shooting the show.
Yeah,
We did it again, of course.
Yeah.
But Porcello could go for 21 wins. I mean, he's already got 20 right now.
Yeah.
He's at a 3.20 ERA. He has not...
Pretty good. He hasn't, once again, knock on wood.
Has not lost at Fenway Park all season.
That's crazy,
Undefeated.
Man. That's crazy.
I think he has 14 wins at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
That's just... If the playoffs start today, or if you had a wild card game, it's Porcello who's getting the ball, in my eyes.
Yeah, I think so.
Cannot discount, though, David Price. David Price has absolutely been turning the corner ever since that rocky beginning of kind of April and May.
Yeah.
Outside of that, he's been one of the best pitchers that has been in baseball. Some Red Sox stats that we follow here. David Price in his last, I want to say it's 7 starts.
Yeah, it's like he's 7-0, I think.
David Price's last 7 starts. He had a win. He went 8 innings. He gave up 3 earned runs. After that, he went 6 innings, gave up 1 earned run. That was the rain-shortened game in Baltimore.
Okay.
The next one, he went 8 innings and gave up 0 runs. The next one, a win, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Another win, 7 innings, 2 earned runs. 7 innings, a win, 2 earned runs. And we had...
was it in Toronto? Was it?
We had on Monday night another win.
Oh, no,
where he went
Baltimore, yeah.
He went 7 innings and gave up 2 runs again. The biggest problem with Price, though, is the home run ball.
Because those are like he'll give up like a couple hits, and that'll be...
That's what he'll give up is the home runs. That's what annoys me a little bit from Price, but I think you kind of have to take that a little bit. I'd take that any day when you see those stats in front of you.
And that's an amazing number 2. If you have Rick Porcello as your number 1 guy, and you have David Price to follow
as
that
your
up.
2, yep. Well, let's also think about this too. If the playoffs started today, you usually only need 3 starters.
That's true, yeah.
David Price, Rick Porcello, 1 and 2. Who's 3? That's the thing to figure out.
Well, who you got?
I can't give it to Pomerantz. I can't.
Well, yeah.
Cannot give it to him. He's bullpen. Buchholz is just such a wild card right now.
Yeah.
I think you give it to Erod.
You know what? I'm with it.
You do.
I think he's really good. He's really good. He's been amazing, too. Like, you talk about turning a corner these last couple months. He might not have
here's a guy that's had to make so many adjustments. At one point, he was tipping pitches. Another point, he's got his knee problem. Another point is...
He had a hamstring, didn't he?
His hamstring. There's been so many things going on with him. I think we're finally seeing him coming into his own a little bit. But here's my problem with Erod. As much as I like what I see, I need to see a little bit more mental toughness from him. Gutting it out a little bit more, getting on the mound, delivering. Players have to understand, and they need to look at Ortiz and Pedroia as 2 prime examples. Your body is not going to be perfect and be 100% every single game you take the field. There's some players, I'll name names, I don't mind doing that, that think that they have to be perfect to get out in the field. Stephen Wright, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Xander Bogaerts are players, in my eyes, have to have things absolutely 150% perfect to get out there. Clay Buchholz for a while used to be like that. And between now and then, he's shut his mouth and done his job. It's been the biggest difference in my eyes with him in gaining more trust of himself. So I want to see a little bit more mental toughness from a couple of these guys. Particularly the one I want to harp on most. And I don't mean to turn this negative, but I do want to point at Bogaerts. Bogaerts had a terrible second half. Terrible.
Not been doing as well as
260 and average is dropping like wildfire. He was at near 350 at the All-Star break.
And he rivaled the hitting streak of Bradley.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
His average is at about 295, 296 right now. And some people may look at me or whoever and say, you out of your mind? He's having a great year. Of course he is. Yeah. But he already raised the bar so high. To see him go down when he should be going up and delivering. Or being consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just
leveling
not consistent.
Off.
For instance, earlier this week, 1 for 5 with a home run.
Yeah.
To me, and I'm sorry to be tough on it, that is not a good game in my eyes. And maybe it's because I'm hard and I expect players to do a little bit more. That's a 200 average in a game. Your average just dropped more even by hitting that home run. Another person that I also want to look at a little bit, and I'm happy he's back in the 9 spot again, is Bradley.
He's hitting a lot better this last. Yeah.
I have sat in this seat and said on this show a few times on how highly I thought of Jackie Bradley. The problem is that he's been exposed. Jackie Bradley is an 8 or 9 hitter. When you put him in 5, 6, or 7, you're asking him to do too much. And when he does too much, he strikes out a ton. He doesn't deliver. He's starting to get back into the routine of driving the ball effectively on what he did. And you need to see that continue as the final stretch here goes about.
Most definitely, yeah.
Now to look at the studs on this team. Obviously, if you looked at Dustin Pedroia, and this is before the season started, and said that Dustin Pedroia would have a 330, 340 batting average, be leading the league in so many categories, be playing about 150 games of Gold Glove defense again, what would you have thought? Realistic?
Well, see, I would put this into a mystical category of...
It is.
It's like the David Ortiz final tour.
Yep.
So it's like in Petey's part of it. Because he's been a part of 2 championships with him.
Yep.
Almost 3.
Almost 3.
If you go into that ALCS with Tampa Bay where they went to 7 games.
That was 05. 08, yep.
Yeah, 08, where actually against David Price, J.D. Drew should have laced one into...
Should have.
Yeah, almost did. But, I think he's revitalized a bit, and he knows that this is one of the final chances for him to get another ring with Ortiz. And I wouldn't be surprised. I would be pleasantly surprised in a way, be like, oh, wow, all right, great. But he's one of those guys like we talked about earlier, who, when he can, he'll grind it. And I think this might be 1 or 2, he might have another season or 2 left. And that might be, I'm not trying to be dark and gloomy, but this might be zapping a lot of stuff out of him. I think he's just tapping into a lot of stuff that he probably didn't think he had, or just after this season, I just want him to rest for like 2 weeks and just put him just in a bag of ice.
Put him in like a box.
Yeah.
Or put him in like a bubble and just say, here you go.
Yeah, I mean, have him like some sort of Lazarus pit like Batman does with Ra's al Ghul. But he's been fantastic, and you see every at bat. Remember we were talking about last time, the 11 straight hits, almost got 12 for the record.
Yep.
He's been insane, and his defense doesn't. He's also, what was it? His defense has been great, like you said, stellar.
Fantastic.
And just watching him play is such a joy. And as much as you might not like him, and he's not my favorite manager. He's not managing
Farrell,
anymore.
Yep.
Oh, not Farrell, but who used to manage for the White Sox and then the Marlins?
Oh, Ozzie Guillen.
Ozzie Guillen.
Yep.
Who is very entertaining. It might not be your favorite guy, but he had said of Pedroia, I don't know if you remember this quote, if more players played like him, the game would be a lot more entertaining.
Of course it would be.
Yeah. And great respect right there.
What I am so amazed and impressed with Pedroia, and what cannot be discounted enough, is what he was asked to do when the lineup got changed. Pedroia was asked to go into a position that he's not particularly accustomed to, and that's leading off.
Yeah.
He's the table setter. Since he's been to the leadoff spot, he's hitting about 450.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Mookie Betts was doing wonderful in the leadoff spot. Kind of risky. If you're John Farrell and you have to call these 4 into the office, that's Pedroia, Betts, Bogarts, and Ortiz, and say, guys, I think I got to change the lineup a little bit. We need some more runs to score. Mookie, you're going to 3 or 4. David, you're bumping to 3 or 4, wherever. Xander, you're going to go to the 2 spot now. And Dustin, I need you to lead off. That's a big impact. That's a big impact. You have to be a special player to lead off a baseball game.
Yeah.
And my goodness, has Dustin Pedroia done that. I did not expect this from him. If the Red Sox do get to the playoffs, it's because of this play. Dustin Pedroia, hands down, because he's the table setter. As the table setter, he's the one that gets on base. He's the one that advances the guys over if they're down in the lineup. It starts with him.
Yeah, yeah.
We cannot also discount the play of what Mookie Betts has done this year. You just can't. Mookie has just been dynamite. He has over 30 home runs. He has over 100 RBIs. He's hitting about 320.
And how many assists does he have?
His outfield play has been tremendous.
Yeah, jaw-dropping assist to third or home.
You know what his best play is?
What?
You saw it Monday night.
Oh, I didn't
Maybe if you were watching the game.
No.
Mookie was able to take home on a play where he's catching a fielder out there napping. He's done it many, many times now. If a player's not heads up enough, Mookie's quick enough. He has a great jump that he can just take off and get the job done. He did it in the Toronto series, and he did it against Baltimore Monday night. It's a lot of heads-up play. He's got the smarts up here, and it's very difficult to teach that. Mookie's got it. And I wish more and more players were able to pick up on something like that.
I think Benintendi.
Benintendi. And he's back now, so you're going to be seeing him play again.
I think you'll get more. I think they'll rub off on each other in that regard.
When I look at the lineup, when we get to that certain point, you might see Pedroia still leading off. But you know who your number 2 hitter will probably be? Benintendi. Because it breaks up all the righties that you might have in a row.
Oh, okay.
If you have Benintendi in 2, then you can put Betts 3, Ortiz 4. Yeah. But also, you know Ortiz is going to be retiring. We haven't talked about him that much. And we also need to talk about Hanley too.
Yeah.
But David Ortiz, folks, we've said it since April. It's amazing what he's doing at the age of 40.
Yeah, man.
320.
Was it 33
30, almost 35 home runs.
Oh, 35.
About 110 RBIs now.
Yeah.
How is he going to retire? Just how?
No, you still don't believe he's going to retire?
If he does retire, in my eyes, I think it's because they win the World Series.
Yeah, I think that's safe.
If they get to Game 7 or 6 in the championship series, I don't see Ortiz retiring. I'm sorry. Even though he's done the retirement tour and he's done everything, he just loves the game that much.
Yeah.
He wants to go out a champion. He wants to do that so badly that I think he would do it for another year. I think he would.
I mean, I wouldn't rule that out. I think he is going to.
But I do think that because the Red Sox team is so good right now, I think we do have a good chance of getting to the promised land. We do.
You know what? I don't think there's the only other team in both leagues I think that could really do it. I mean, is in the National League.
And it's the Cubs.
Oh, Cubs or even the Nationals.
Yep.
I think those are the only real 2 teams that can match.
Nobody scares me in the American League. Nobody. We saw it with the Blue Jays this weekend. That was our biggest competition.
Maybe Kansas City.
I don't think they're going to get there.
You don't think they'll
Kansas City is not even in the playoff fold.
Well, I thought that weren't they a couple games away from a.
No, because Cleveland's got it.
Well, from one of the.
No, wild card. They're done.
Card? Oh wow, I thought they were on a streak.
The wild card consists right now in a list of Toronto and Baltimore tied. Yeah. So that's your wild card and your play-in game.
Yankees,
Yankees are 4 games, and then Houston, I think,
but they're 2 games
Houston
behind.
And Detroit. Yeah. Houston and Detroit, I think, about 4.5 to 5.
So they're about 2.5 to 4. So it's all within a 5.
Yeah. The Royals are definitely done.
Oh, I thought they were on quite a streak, though.
So because of that, because I thought the Royals may end up doing something, and they didn't. They just had too many injuries. Their closer got hurt and everything.
Oh, yeah.
They just didn't have it this season.
Well, there's Cleveland.
Terry Francona and the Indians. They are having a great year. It could end up being a 2007 rematch.
Yeah. The other
Cleveland's
side of the ball,
really liking life right now with the LeBron James and the Cavaliers championship. So
there you go.
Maybe it's a Cleveland year. We'll have to see. But overall, I think the Red Sox have a great chance at getting to where they need to get to, and it's going to take a lot of good play from some of the names that we had mentioned off here. We talked about the return of some young stars. Benintendi will be back in the lineup, so get a chance to see him in left field once again. I think he is the more talented of the two, and that consists of Moncada. We haven't had a chance to talk about Moncada.
I haven't really seen him. I've only heard kind of not disappointing things.
The problem with a lot of fans, and they haven't got a chance to really see Moncada, is because he premiered when they were on the West Coast. And that's when the Padres, the Oakland
series.
and the Padres, that series was going on. That was an odd road trip that they had. But what you're seeing from Moncada is a guy that's got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
But the talent needs to still be developed. He does not know how to hit a curveball.
No.
Every pitcher, the scouting report is out on him. Don't throw him a fastball, throw him a curveball, because he just hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So he struck out 8 times in a row. So that's why you're seeing Shaw retake third base. The plan was to put Moncada there as your everyday third baseman when he got called up. Just didn't work. You can't put a kid up there who's going to strike out all the time in the midst of a pennant race. You just can't. So you're going to see a little bit more of Travis Shaw. He's kind of starting to get going a little bit.
Yeah, getting going back again.
He knows that there's a little bit of competition now, so that can probably help get the best out of him.
Sure, they'll burn.
But for Moncada, getting back to next season is the plan. Starting at Pawtucket, getting him more developed, and getting him ready to go is the plan. He's the future third baseman or player there, because you still got Pablo Sandoval you got to deal with too.
Yeah, are they going to just deal him
he's
away?
Under contract for 4 more years.
Oh, my Lord. Well, whoever wants to take that
whoever
money,
wants him.
Yeah. Oh, I guess another player who came back last week or two, in my estimation, already helped out the team. And bullpen help, Koji.
Yes, the bullpen has actually kind of gotten a little bit better. Yeah. And one of the best things I think on why they've been able to do that is the September call-ups too.
Yeah.
There's more
Joe Kelly.
There's more arms that are out there that you can kind of mix and match a little bit more. You have Joe Kelly, who's actually done very well out of the bullpen, and I'd like to see get a better chance there. Koji being back out there is great. I need to figure out, and I haven't got a chance to yet, why does John Farrell not like Brad Ziegler?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's not his guy. He feels he's more.
The guy's been dominant.
Yeah.
And he won't give him the 8th inning. He puts him in the 6th or the 7th. He'll put him in against the right-hander, but won't go against the left-hander. He was a closer for the Arizona Diamondbacks this year. He had 22 saves.
Yeah. You're guessing
that's your answer
man.
Right there. And it's just John Farrell being John Farrell again.
Do you think when you get to the postseason, do you think there'll be more regulated kind of or delegated?
He's so unpredictable that I don't know how to answer that yet. Yeah. If they do lose, say they go in the first round and they do lose those 3 games or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think John Farrell's fired.
Yeah, I mean,
I do.
Yeah, we talked about this.
I think the Red Sox know that if they don't make the championship or World Series,
he's gone.
See you later.
Yeah.
Because they know that they're better than what they should have done. Farrell has I think, had such an up and down season. I personally don't want him there as the manager. Yeah. I think he's going to end up costing them. I do. I like what I see here right now, but there's too many dumb moves. If you think about it, in the past month, when they lose a game, it's almost like it's the worst loss of the season. Okay. Going back to games from Tampa or Detroit or even the Padres game that they lost 2-1 and they didn't pitch hit David Ortiz from, or the Oakland game when it was a no-hitter for Eduardo Rodriguez and they lose 1-0 after they score 3,000 runs Friday and Saturday night. It's just.
Well, I mean, is that more?
It's mind-boggling.
Is that more a case of they couldn't hit good pitching, or like?
I think it's more of a case that the manager doesn't know what the heck he's doing.
As far as like manufacturing runs,
he doesn't. He's not a good in-game manager, and what that means is you need to have a little bit of strategy. You need to know who the best quality person is to put in a game. Yeah. Wait, I'm going to use the Oakland game for an example here when it was 1-0. Why are you going to Craig Kimbrell 1-0 when you're on the road? You still have to score. If you score in the 10th, you put your closer in. Yeah. He put him in 0-0 at the time. Kimbrell does not do well in ties or games that are meaningless. And for whatever reason, Farrell continues to be stubborn about that. It should have been a game where Ziegler should have come into, and it should have been another win that we had. Without John Farrell, I think this team is actually probably 15 games over 500, or might even have 10 more wins to their total with somebody different in command, like a Joe Girardi or Jason Varitek or something like that.
Maybe.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Right now, we have to think about the positive, and they're 2 games ahead in the American League East.
Yeah.
This is crunch time, so we got to see what they can do on that end. I want to end the show very quickly with something very, very cool that I thought of. It's top 5 MLB players for the MVP award for 2016.
Oh, all right.
You have to think of who could possibly get this award. So for number 5 on the list, who would you think it could be?
I'm actually not as good as far as outside of our division, but I mean I actually don't know the temperature for outside of it, but I guess I would be.
Well, there's a couple names that I have in particular
Well,
that could be there. Josh Donaldson, I could think could definitely be an MVP candidate.
He's doing better than he did last year.
Yes, he is.
He was MVP last year.
But we caught Josh Donaldson on a cold streak, which was good because he was 0 for his last 19.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take that any day of the week.
Give me a throw.
So Donaldson would be a name that I would definitely consider as an MVP candidate. Jose Altuve from the Astros.
Houston,
He's the one that's at about 340 for an average. Dustin Pedroia trails him by like 10 points. Altuve has had an amazing year for the Astros. Leads in hits, batting average. But the problem with this is the Astros might not make the playoffs. Sure. More realistic than not, they probably won't. Usually for an MVP candidate, 9 times out of 10, they're players that help lead your team to the postseason. Okay. So he may be on the outside. Mookie Betts absolutely has to be a candidate for MVP. And it can't just be from batting average, home runs, RBIs. You got to look at his fielding, which has been phenomenal. His base running's been phenomenal. He's almost in a way a 5-tool player.
Yeah, no, he's every phase of the game. He's amazing.
Yep, I completely agree on that. Dustin Pedroia. Yeah. His name has to be there in consideration. Pedroia has had a great season. He could very well be the batting champion as your table setter. David Ortiz.
Yeah, I mean, now we're getting homer territory, but why not? I mean, he's been amazing this year.
People are always going to say, oh, well, he's just a DH and blah, 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 blah. And you know what?
Putting up the numbers.
The guy just flat out hits. The wild card of this whole thing, we're going to stay in the vision here too, is Zach Britton from the Baltimore Orioles. He's their closer.
Yeah. Okay.
Could very well be their Cy Young candidate, but he could also be an MVP because he's like 45 out of 45 in saves.
That's insane.
Has a minuscule like .05 ERA, something crazy like that.
That's nuts.
So that is pretty nuts on there. In my eyes, if it ended today, my MVP, drum roll please, goes to Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is my MVP.
All right.
So we'll have to see on that. Before we close it out, we actually have only a minute left to go. I just want to say, isn't it great to have Hanley Ramirez as your first baseman on the Boston Red Sox?
Yeah, he's been great. He's been hitting
very
well, and his defense has been good too.
I was so critical of him through the first half and all. He's hitting .287. He's going to hit over 100 RBIs, 25 home runs, playing a position he had never done. He deserves more and more credit. And I am sorry, Hanley, for how hard I had been on you. But you are finally showing Boston fans and even fans around the world that you can get the job done. So congratulations on that. Phil, I want to thank you for joining us here on Face the Facts.
Thank you for having me.
Very exciting couple weeks here left for the month of September.
Excited to
keep your eyes glued to that TV. And, of course, always stay glued to us. We will see you again next time here on Face the Facts. I'm Nick Face. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.